I should use for an R, let me know. 73, I'm Jim, W6LG in Rocklin, California. See you later. Bye-bye. Your YouTube Elmer, welcome to my radio room here in Rocklin, California. Have a bit of a puzzle. Let's say you put up an antenna for HF, 10 meters maybe, and you check the SWR at the transceiver at the end of the coax run, and it's perfect, 1-to-1, and it's broad, covers most of 10 meters. And then you go outside and because the performance isn't quite what you think it should be, and you measure it outside with a 3-foot jumper or maybe a 6-foot jumper, and the SWR is 3-to-1 on the same frequency. Well, how is that possible? Why would it be 3-to-1 outside and 1-to-1 inside? What's the difference? Now, someone asked that question in a discussion group, and he got lots of different answers. One of the suggestions was that the coax was bad, that the coax that he was using as a jumper had a short, or that he needed to ground the antenna, because you need to ground all antennas. That he needed to disconnect the lightning arrestor he had in the circuit, because that was causing some difficulties. Maybe the SWR meter was defective because it used an SWR meter inside the radio room and a nano VNA at the antenna. It was just convenient to take the nano VNA out there and take a look. So what's the correct answer? Why would the SWR be higher at the antenna versus at the transceiver? What in the world is going on? And the manufacturer was contacted, and suggestions were made to run a ground wire to the balun because it had a wing nut on it, and to run number 14 down to a driven stake for this, what amounted to a dipole antenna, because that would improve the SWR. If you have to have an RF ground, right? So grounding the matching device at the antenna surely is going to help, right? Because you've got to have an RF ground. We all know that. So what is the answer here? Why would the SWR be higher at the antenna and lower at the transceiver? And I'm going to demonstrate that here. I'm going to connect an antenna that's going to show a really good SWR and then a really lousy SWR. And then I might even do a different antenna and sweep that antenna across many of the ham bands. If I use enough coax, my Yagi antenna might work on 15, might work on 10, might even work on 40. Who knows? But let's find out. What happens when we change the length of the coax? And does it have anything to do with standing waves? Let's go find out. Let's go hook up stuff and see what happens. I'll be right back after I connect all this stuff and get a camera going. Stand by. This is what the SWR curve looks like using a dummy load from 14 megahertz to 14.5. So let's sweep the antenna and see what that looks like. Now, when I'm sweeping it, I've got the 100 feet of coax in the line. And here comes the SWR curve at 20 meters. Pretty much resonant about 14.2. SWR curve goes from about 2 to 1 to